Well, Damascus descended into turmoil a day after the rebels overthrew the Assad government. Political chaos is unfolding in Syria as fear is rising over resurgence of extremist groups. Our next report tells you what next for Syria after the collapse of 53-year-old rule of the Assad regime. Scenes of destruction in Damascus that came to light a day after dramatic fall of Bashar Al Assad's government. These are images of Mazeh military airport in ruins after overnight airstrikes. Syrians can be seen carrying military equipment in vehicles. The rebels are leaving no stone unturned to remove the traces of the Assad regime, and it has often taken on dark proportions. From toppling and defacing statues, looting banks, emptying prisons, to ransacking the Damascus palace. The fall of Assad regime raises curious parallels with what happened in Afghanistan back in 2021. The Taliban stormed back to power in the wake of US withdrawing its military presence after 20 years. The government of President Ghani ended abruptly with him fleeing Kabul as the Taliban entered the gates of the presidential palace. This is a stark reminder of how Assad resigned and fled to Moscow as rebels knocked on the doors of Damascus. The collapse of 53-year-old Assad regime put Syria at a testing crossroad. HTS chief Abu Mohammed al-Golani has announced the formation of a transition authority. He addressed the rebel forces from the landmark Umayyad mosque in Damascus. Despite these efforts, HTS's history, rooted in Al-Qaeda, casts a long shadow over its promises of a diplomatic and nationalist approach. Skepticism abounds regarding its long-term intentions and ability to govern a fractured country. With the political chaos unfolding in Syria, the US vowed to engage with all rebel groups, a move that has been opposed by Russia. The US itself had proscribed the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham as a terrorist group. The end of Assad's rule does not immediately translate to peace for Syrians. HTS's past association with extremist groups raises fears of a harsh, authoritarian rule under the guise of Islamist governance. Millions of displaced Syrians, both within the country and abroad, face an uncertain future as they watch the unfolding events with hope and trepidation. Bureau Report, WION, World is One. So what happens next in Syria? Omer Ozki Zildjic is a non-residential fellow at the Atlantic Council. He's now joining us live from Ankara, Turkey. Mr. Omer, thank you very much for making time for us and welcome to the broadcast. The opposition in Syria has proposed an 18-month transition. We have Bashar Al Assad seeking asylum in Russia. What role can Turkey play in Syria at this juncture?
So we have to clearly underline that Turkey will be the most influential country that will have an influence in Syria. So the Turkish role here will especially be very important to avoid disagreements within the Syrian rebels to escalate, and that Turkey will play an important role to to convince the Syrian rebels who are taking power to be more inclusive, and Turkey will also play an important role in transforming the state institutions, helping Syria's economy, the banking sector, and the reconstruction of Syria. So Turkey has much to provide to the Syrian people, but Turkey alone will not be enough. Syria needs more. Syria needs the help of everyone. we can and probably will see a joint effort between the Arab states, Turkey, and the Europeans to help Syria to get on its own feet and to help Syria to be a prosperous and stable and secure country. And Turkey will be at the forefront of all of these efforts.
Mr. Omer, with that all being said, that Syria will play a crucial role in establishing peace in Syria, the opposition has proposed an 18-month transition period for Syria. Do you think that is feasible? Do you think it will work under the rebel rule?
So we have to say that the rebels are not like Obama once told them, doctors and farmers with rifles in their hand. The rebels had 4 years of a governing experience. Under the Turkish protected areas in northwest Syria, the rebels showed their capabilities. They have established institutions and they provided more services to the people than even the Assad regime. For instance, in northwest Syria, the people had 24 hours electricity. In Aleppo city, the second largest city of Syria under the Assad regime, the people only had 2 hours of electricity per day. So the rebels are capable and they can do this transformation. And what's more important, the Syrian opposition has prepared for this day for years now. They have had many workshops, they have many plans, roadmaps, and they had many brainstormings on this issue. And now they will have to implement this. However, what's making me most optimistic and most hopeful is how the rebels entered Damascus. Damascus was not taken after a fight. It was a peaceful surrender. And this gives me hope that the technocrats and bureaucrats of the Assad regime will also play a role in the transition period. And this will help to prevent the collapse of the state institutions. This will help to ensure that the state institutions are still functioning and working and that the transition period will be as smooth as possible.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Omer, for talking to us and for giving us your time today. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.